Welcome to Saturday Showcase presented by 5-Hour Energy. One of the great home court advantages in all of college basketball. Allen Fieldhouse and the number 8 Kansas Jayhawks at home as they play host to West Virginia. Check out our standings in the Big 12. Day's already gotten off to a wild start as Kansas State earlier today pounded Texas. Marcus Foster at 34. You see Kansas at 8-1. They're in first. West Virginia, one of the surprises in the league, at 6-4. Hi, everybody. John Shambi and Fran Fraschilla. Kansas, they won 9 straight regular season titles in this league. Meanwhile, the relative newcomer to the league, West Virginia, and under Bob Huggins, they've won 3 straight right now. This is the best they've played in this conference.
It is, John, and this is a tall order for them today. Just look at Texas going to Kansas State today. Hard to win on the road in this league, especially at Allen Fieldhouse. If they do it, it's going to be guard play, and we're going to see one of the unique and best point guards in the country this year in Juwan Staten. Now, what makes him so special is he's got great change of direction speed. I'm not a track coach, so I don't know who the fastest guy in college basketball is, but I know change of direction, right to left, left to right, not many quicker than Juwan Staten. Absolutely having a sensational year. What makes it so important is his ability to get to the basket opens up the three-point shot for guys like Terry Henderson and Aaron Harris. Kansas, on the other hand, defends the rim better than anybody you'll see, especially with the shot blocking of Joel Embiid. So tall order today, no pun intended, for Juwan Staten.
All right, let's take a look at the starting lineups. And first for Bob Huggins and West Virginia, it'll be Staten, Harris, and Henderson, 3-guard attack. Remy Debo and Devin Williams getting the start. As for Bill Self and the Kansas Jayhawks, it'll go this way. Nadir Tharp coming off a great game against Baylor. Wayne Selden Jr. along with freshman Andrew Wiggins in the backcourt. Up front, it's Perry Ellis and Joel Embiid. Allen Fieldhouse here in Lawrence, packed to the gills. Over 16,000 on hand. And for Kansas this year, they have suffered just 5 losses, only one of them at home, and that was to San Diego State.
Well, and this is a young team that we've seen get better and better since the early part of the season. They rebounded well from the loss to Texas last Saturday with a good win at Baylor.
Ready to roll here at Allen Fieldhouse. Kansas wearing those great throwback jerseys. Debo and Embiid wins the tip, and Kansas controls. And again, Fran, one of the things we talk about with Kansas, they will try and get the ball inside immediately.
No question, that is their bread and butter, and there it is, John.
Embiid fouled, will go to the line.
Now, Bill Self understands that the game, especially with his type of team he's got out there, is played from the rim out with Embiid and Ellis.
Foul on Devin Williams. So the freshman picks up an early one, and Embiid at the line. 66% free throw shooter. The freshman.
Well, we were unsure, John, right up to the start of the game as to whether the freshman Devin Williams was starting today. And one of the things I remember telling you is it might not have been bad for Bob Huggins to bring him off the bench early, because Kansas always goes inside early, like a handoff up the middle play in football.
Kevin Noreen is quickly checked in for West Virginia. Is that 3 off the mark from Harris? Embiid double team. Wiggins goes baseline as they move the ball nicely. Now Tharp might have passed up a better shot for a more difficult one.
Especially the way Tharp's been shooting the ball.
And right there, Staten is fouled. And we get that foul on Nadir Tharp.
John, Juwan Staten puts so much pressure on your transition defense because he just comes at you, and you know, even though Tharp is set, He's able to go right on and right off his hip. And Tharp's a guy that cannot get in foul trouble today for Bill Self. I think you'll see multiple guys guard Staten.
They throw it away. It's a turnover. Staten, who leads the league in assists, he's second in scoring.
Oh, and how about this? This is a low turnover team. 23 games this year, 17 times West Virginia's turned it over 10 times or less.
Yeah, not the case for Kansas. They have a tendency to turn it over. Ellis puts it on the floor, goes left hand, couldn't finish. Gets his own miss, puts it home. One of their unsung players, Perry Ellis, as a sophomore now, is a big-time recruit last year.
Remember early last year, he was thought of as a disappointment.
Shot clock under 10. And they get a travel. Another turnover.
Nadir Tharp kept Staten from getting the ball back. And as good a season as Aaron Harris is having for this guy, the Hall of Famer eventually, he's not a creator, John.
Bob Huggins just behind Mike Krzyzewski and Jim Boeheim among active coaches and victories. Embiid in the paint, little shake and bake, couldn't hit. And Wiggins able to save it. It'll stay Kansas basketball.
Smart play by Andrew Wiggins. Joel Embiid now 4 for his last 16 field goal attempts in a little over 2 games. But good smart hustle play by the freshman from Vaughan, Ontario.
Wiggins as well has been cold, not including that miss right there. Wiggins 6 for 25 his last 2. Staten kicks out to Debo, who knocks it down. West Virginia can shoot the 3. They get a number of guys who are tall and who can hit it.
Did you notice who was guarding Staten that last possession? Wiggins.
Just inside the 3-point line, and he knocks it down. It's a 2.
Analytical guys won't like that because that's a long 2, but Bill Self will take it.
And they get an offensive foul on Embiid. David Hall with the call.
Just watching early in this game, John, JoJo Embiid has gotten away with a little push off, also a push in the back on that Ellis rebound. Just watch the extension right there. Noreen got his money's worth too.
Oh, State so quick and lays it in.
How about that, John? Right on cue. This guy, what a disappointing sophomore season the transfer from Dayton had. He's had a transformation. Look at this ability to get to the rim. I had a good long talk with Juwan Staten before the game, and I just asked him, I said, you're a completely different player. He said, Coach, last year I had my own agenda. We had other guys on the team that had agendas. The chemistry was terrible. I just took it upon myself to be Coach Huggins' extension on the floor. There aren't many point guards in the country playing better than this guy right now.
Wiggins kicks out to Mason. Ellis backs down on Debo and gets it to go.
When you talk about Perry Ellis, the word that comes to mind is understated. You know, he plays the game simply, very fundamentally sound.
Not an emotional player. Debo uses the dribble to get free.
Not bad, young man from right outside of the great city of Paris, France. Junior college player at Casper in Wyoming. Started his prep school career in West Virginia at Mountain State Academy.
And a foul on West Virginia. Early on, the Mountaineers with a 2-point advantage.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by 5 Hour Energy. Focus is the feeling of clarity and alertness. It's the feeling you get from 5 Hour Energy. And in part by Allstate. Are you in good hands?
Back here in Lawrence, West Virginia up 8-6, and they were honoring the 1974 Jayhawk team.
Great tradition right here. You know who coached that Creighton team? Eddie Sutton. Oral Roberts was very good back in the day. Of course, Roger Morningstar, an outstanding shooter. He had a son that turned out to be a pretty good player here in Kansas by the name of Brady. Of course, Ted Owens, tremendous coach. Great young, almost said young guy. Great guy now living in Tulsa.
Andrew Wiggins and the Jayhawks at home trying to pick up a win. They were able to bounce back Tuesday from that loss last Saturday against Texas. That was their first and only conference loss. And they beat up on Baylor pretty good. The last foul on Noreen, his second. And so Brandon Watkins is going to check in.
There it is. Not supposed to make it look that easy. I think we're going to see a lot of Frank Mason Jr. today guarding Staten.
Ellis swoops in for the board.
Kansas, John, one of the best post-feeding teams in the country.
Wiggins able to finish.
He's attacking the basket better than he did early in the year. Still not finishing great, but he's starting to get used to playing through contact.
Aaron Harris finds Watkins, and it'll count. He'll go to the line, the freshman from Georgia.
Well, everybody in the league knows that Kansas has these lob plays, and here's the little rub screen. You see the two defenders in blue heading out to the corner. If you've got Andrew Wiggins on the floor on an inbounds play, you want to force everything in white to the corner and not let anybody loose, especially Wiggins at the rim on an inbounds play.
That was like 5-on-0 in practice, the way that one worked out. That last foul on Kansas, Perry Ellis, he's picked up 2 here in the early going. Watkins just a 53% shooter from the line. Can't convert.
There's one place Kansas has depth, John. It's obviously on the front line with Traylor and Black and Landon Lucas.
Inside, there's Traylor to put it home.
Now this guy is shooting over 70% from the field because he knows who he is. He's a garbage man. He just cleans up the mess.
Plays about 15 minutes a game, Jamari Traylor. Usually out there with Tarik Black. Debo.
Oh, he dragged his pivot foot. About a foot.
And inside, they get a foul on West Virginia. And that'll be on Brandon Watkins. I mentioned Tarik Black. Embiid will grab a seat. And Tarik Black will check in, coming off the season high in minutes played in the win over Baylor. Embiid had gotten into foul trouble, so he played 23 minutes, did Tarik Black.
You know who was impressed with him last week was Aaron Rodgers, who was in here to watch a game. He thinks he might have a future on the gridiron.
And one. Big, strong guy, Tarik Black, a Memphis transfer.
Well, he knows his role, John. He's a fifth-year guy just trying to be a part of a really good team. You know, Kansas has only taken 5 charges all season. A lot of that with the new rules. But this guy, Tarik Black, has taken 4 of the 5.
And I mean, when you contemplate how little he's out there, you know, he's playing 10 minutes a game.
Well, just recently, he flipped the foul to rebound ratio. He's now more rebounds than fouls on the season. Took him a while to get there.
Harris feed to Williams, couple of pump fakes, had it blocked, but he's fouled. And that will be on Tarik Black, his first. No more college basketball Saturday on ESPN and ESPN2 at 9 Eastern. Saturday prime time presented by DirecTV. Gonzaga and Memphis, and on ESPN2 at 9. Number 4 Wichita State taking on Northern Iowa. Will they stay unbeaten?
Likely they will. They were certainly challenged the other night down in Terre Haute by a good Indiana State team. This young man, Devin Williams, played on arguably the best high school team in the country last year, Montverde Academy, down in Orlando, with teammates with Dakari Johnson of Kentucky, Casey Hill. But he's a Cincinnati kid. Bob Huggins went back to Cincinnati to get him to become one of the outstanding young big guys in the Big 12. This league is so loaded with terrific young 4-year players, the Big 12.
Traylor uses the glass.
And this is one of them. He may not end up like Thomas Robinson, John, but you're going to see 2.5 more years of Jamari Traylor.
Adrian hands off Harris, soft touch. He's got a really good stroke. Aaron Harris, 3rd leading scorer in the conference.
I told you before the game, he reminds me a little bit of Missouri's Kim English. Long and rangy, good stroke. The former Tiger that at times tormented the Jayhawks.
And that last foul on Devin Williams, he's picked up 2. Kevin Noreen as well with 2 fouls.
Kansas puts pressure on your inside game, John. They've been running the same offense since Bill Self got here in 2003. And you watch how they seal up the lane with their big guys, and they just try to throw it over the top to the corner of the backcourt.
Wiggins lost his footing, and eventually it's Stark tracking it down. Mason hesitates, had it blocked, out of bounds. It's West Virginia basketball. Kansas by 3. John Sciambi, Fran Fraschilli here at Allen Fieldhouse.
Juwan Staten's been reasonably quiet so far, John, in terms of his scoring, but done a good job of running this offense.
Harris gets a good look on the feed from Staten.
I'll tell you what, this young backcourt, you're talking about Henderson and Harris, these are two of those guys that people are going to get used to over the next 3 or 4 years.
That was a 2 from Wiggins. And Gary Brown handling here. Oh, that's from deep Aaron Harris.
Look at this, John. Look at this. What an effort. I love watching these West Virginia guards. They may be some of the most underrated players in the country in terms of as a backcourt.
Black sealing off, great feed from Traylor.
We've talked about this already during the season. Those two guys like playing with each other. Similar type guys, both really underrated passers.
Staten knocks it down. He's not known as a jump shooter, but that's about his range.
John, you know what? Inside of the three-point line, he's actually a pretty good shooter. But you're right about the range.
Xavier Tharp.
See, we said this. West Virginia, to stay in this game, is going to have to continue to make jump shots. Not easy.
Ball on the floor. And eventually Traylor gives it off Mason. Mason with the left hand. Adrian long on that shot, but Brown with a big rebound.
You got a new shot clock, Brown. See, that's not necessary. The crowd cajoled him into shooting that. Pull it back out, run your offense. You got a new shot clock. You're on the road in one of the tougher places to win in. Oh, nice pass. That's
Great
it.
feed. Traylor lays it in. A perfect pass from Frank Mason.
That's their bread and butter right there, John. That's their handoff up the middle, and they just got a first down. See, West Virginia is speeding up right now. You cannot play that way.
Out of bounds. It'll be Kansas basketball when we come back.
The Bulldog, the freshman from Petersburg. Talk about the one and dones. This guy's going to be around a long time. Frank Mason Jr. with the ankle breaker.
The West Virginia Mountaineers coming off a win at home in overtime on Wednesday. Aaron Harris had 28, including that three-pointer to send things into overtime. The first Isaiah Cousins missing there, but Harris a huge night as he went off, knocking down three-pointer after three-pointer in overtime, 91-86. West Virginia knocking off number 21 Oklahoma, 3 straight wins in conference for Bob Huggins's team.
Well, and Aaron Harris has 3 games this season of 27 or more, including 27 against a good West Virginia team. He played at Lawrence North High School for a legendary coach, Jack Kiefer, same place that produced Greg Oden and Eric Montross, Mike Conley Jr. His team was under 500 his senior year. He didn't play well. I asked him today when they arrived at Allen Fieldhouse, I said, you got to tell me about that. He said, Coach, I just didn't know how to be a leader, how to be a guy that could take over games, and I didn't think, quite frankly, I was good enough. I've never been the man on my team. I played on an AAU team with Yogi Ferrell. I played on a high school team with other Division I players. He's starting to become a very good college player.
A great shooter, Aaron Harris, shoots it at 43% from 3, and he's got 3 of them today. And a 3-second violation.
I think Bill Self, we know this because we see it every game. He's very comfortable with Traylor and Black manning the low post, and it gives Embiid and Ellis, who's got 2 fouls, that's why you don't see him back for a while, a chance to rest.
Last game, Embiid got into foul trouble. Harris puts it on the floor, almost spun it home.
Well, Gary Harris, John, picking up where he left off against Oklahoma. These are deep shots. Take a look. Good rhythm 3. Look at that stroke. Good follow through. Only a sophomore. You know, I know I've said this before, but Marcus Foster went off today against Texas, a freshman. You look at Jordan Wood at Oklahoma, Buddy Hield, Cousins. Texas has got a bunch of sophomores. Right now, forget the one and done guys. The Big 12 has as many good freshmen and sophomores as any league in college basketball. Harris is just one of a plethora of guys.
The number 1 RPI league in the country, the Big 12. Embiid to a cutting Selden, who puts it in.
And that came out of a timeout. Good setup by Self.
Oh man, is he explosive. Jawan Staten with 2.
You see the change of direction move?
Not too many guys out there that can stay with him. Embiid working on Noreen and an offensive foul. That's Embiid's second. Timeout on the court. Kansas with a 1-point advantage.
Adnan Virk and Seth Greenberg back in the college basketball studios, updating you on TCU and Iowa State. Matt Thomas, a deep three.
That's a deep three, but Iowa State, a terrific passing team. They've assisted on 9 of their 10 field goals.
Up by 11. Let's go back to John Shambi, Fran Fraschilla.
All right, Adnan, thanks very much. And here, number 8, Kansas up by a point. Let's go inside the play, Fran Fraschilla.
Well, we've been talking about Jawan Staten's change of direction speed all night. Take a look now. He's going to go left to right by Mason. But here's the key, John. He's so good at finishing at the rim. Embiid will try to get it on this side and then on the second side. And Staten will still use the rim to protect. This guy's making 62% of his shots at the rim, and he's only about 6 feet tall.
Noreen inside, little hesitation, gets the bucket, gives West Virginia the lead.
Wow, he hasn't made a basket, Noreen, since January 6th at Texas Tech.
Tharp wide open. Tharp coming off a game that saw him go 4 out of 6 and 22 points against Baylor. 4 3-pointers.
I think with Staten at the point, West Virginia can get better shots than the one they just took. They need to utilize the shot clock to get open looks from the perimeter.
Trailer finds Black, deflected out of bounds. It stays with the Jayhawks. Now, one of the top scorers in the NBA headlines, ABC's NBA Sunday Showcase. At 1, it's the Thunder hosting Carmelo Anthony and the Knicks. And then 3:30, the Bulls and the Lakers. ABC Sunday Showcase. And it starts with NBA Countdown presented by Speed Stick Gear at 12:30.
Magic snuck one out on the Thunder last night in Orlando, but Kevin Durant, 29 points, 12 assists.
Get back on defense, KD.
Yes, good point.
Tobias Harris with that
That's
dunk
a
to finish.
Not a great start, John, for Nadir Tharp. And when people talk about Kansas and can they get to the Final Four, my answer always is they just can't have one off performance from Nadir Tharp somewhere early in the NCAA tournament.
You think he's their most important player?
I absolutely think he's their he's not their best player. He's not their best pro prospect. I think he's their most important player. And by the way, it's been proven this year in the games he's played well versus the games he has not played well.
Harris gets the first. The sophomore, as Fran documented from Indianapolis, he was their leading scorer last year as a freshman. Only the second guy in program history to pull that off. Warren Baker back 72-73.
How about that? Brandon Watkins, the freshman here for Bob Huggins, his uncle. And that was a pretty good recruiting coup because Bob Huggins played with Warren Baker. Hall of Famer in the West Virginia Hall of Fame.
They get the foul on Remy Debo, his first. Each team in the 1-1, 18 fouls on Kansas, 17 fouls on West Virginia. Well, Fran, for all the talk about Embiid and Wiggins, this guy's had a pretty good freshman year. He wasn't great against Baylor the other night, but
well, he's been key, John. All 3 of his 20-plus games have come in conference play. In fact, the first 2 came in the first 2 conference games of the season. This Kansas team has so much balance in terms of their scoring. Now Selden guarding Staten. See, I think you got to spread the floor for Staten.
Henderson the miss. Debo rips down the rebound, and then he's fouled. No. They're going to say offensive foul. Debo picks up his second.
Well, that's an error of commission, which coaches don't usually mind because he's trying to make something happen. But another chance at a new shot clock. That's the European look right there. Usually they cover up their mouth with two hands.
Quite expressive.
Yes.
4 guys now with a couple of fouls in West Virginia. Debo, Williams, Watkins, Noreen.
Guess why? They're all inside players, which speaks to Kansas's philosophy.
Great pass. Wiggins finds Black. It's hard. Black with 7 points in this one. Adrian can't hit. Jayhawks ball. And now Mike Roberts and Rick Hartzell are going to have a chat.
There's a little drive and a good look by Andrew Wiggins. You can say a lot about Andrew Wiggins, but the one thing you have to acknowledge, John, very unselfish player. By all accounts, a tremendous teammate, tremendous young man.
Expectations are very high.
They are.
He's their 3rd leading rebounder, and he also defends very well.
He's having a great freshman year. Now, whether it's, up to the standard some people who've never seen him play have, that's another story. To me, he listen, I don't want to get into the NBA stuff, but to me, he reminds me of DeMar DeRozan, who, by the way, will be an all-star next week. Similar body type, similar freak athleticism, skill level improving.
Another turnover. Kansas basketball. How would you compare Wiggins and another guy who was just at Kansas, Ben McLemore?
They're similar in that both of them they had to both learn how to be takeover guys. It's really not their personality. There's not the alpha dog mentality that sometimes you want, but he's got the whole package in terms of how good he can be someday.
Harris swoops in for the board. Staten pushes it up. Henderson here, one of their sharpshooters. He turns it over, went off his foot.
Yeah, Henderson has a tendency to try to do too much.
Selden buries it. Kansas by 4. Back here at Allen Fieldhouse, Andrew Wiggins and Kansas leading West Virginia 34-30. John Shambi and Fran Fraschilla. See Norm Roberts, assistant with Kansas, former St. John's head coach.
His younger son, Justin, with a huge win last night as the Lawrence High Lions beat Shawnee Mission South. Big rivalry, number 2 and number 4 in the state. Shawnee Mission South, coached by former Wyoming Cowboy Brett McFall. Reason I know that is he tormented me for 3 years in the Mountain West.
All right, breaking the action here. And from Allen Fieldhouse, Jayhawks with the lead.
I'm Adnan Virk. Coming up on the Mazda halftime report. Florida Gators going to stay unblemished against Alabama. They look rather good. Also, other action including Iowa. What happened to Michigan? Seth Greenberg will break down the problems for the Wolverines and the disappearing act of Glenn Robinson III, plus the Texas Longhorns. A disappointing performance against K-State. For now, good to hear Fran Fraschilla talk about Raptor All-Stars. John?
Yeah, Raptor All-Stars.
Can you imagine? Hey, how about Adnan Virk? He knows every Canadian player playing in college basketball this year. Well, we're going to call it the Canadian Hoops halftime report.
As a Baseball Tonight guy, he knows all the Canadian baseball players as well. There's another, Andrew Wiggins. Kansas leads by 4, and then you got the Olympics going on. Yeah, he must be unbearable back there right now.
You know, it's fun because he knows how much I love international hoops, John.
Adnan is the best. Terry Henderson, one of their very strong perimeter shooters.
Well, he's been in double figures, Terry Henderson, 13 of his last 16. He just got to let the game come to him, not force shots. They'll come his way. Little 1-3-1 right now.
Ball loose. Selden able to get it over to Mason.
Let me tell you something about Wayne Selden, John. Unique. He made a play in that first Big 12 game against Oklahoma that basically saved the possession late. He is not afraid to get his nose bloody. Got a little bit of that Roxbury, Mass toughness. You went to Boston College. You wouldn't know anything about that.
No. Selden buries a jumper. And 10 points for Wayne Selden Jr.
See, when you were hanging out in Chestnut Hill, he was rocking in Roxbury.
Stepping in and knock it away. Trailer as they tried the lob. Selden back the other way. And inside they get an offensive foul. Noreen does well to take the charge. You know, Selden is interesting, Fran, because when you look at his size and then you think about position, he's pretty similar to Marcus Smart in terms of they both go in that 6'4"-ish, 230 type of range. They've Selden listed 6'5", 230.
Yeah, he doesn't handle the ball like Marcus Smart does. I don't think to me, he's always been a small forward or power guard. The guy that's similar to Marcus Smart is DeAndre Kane. You talk about a battle the other night. Wow, what a great game at triple overtime.
Harris tried to get the call. Instead, it's a block. It'll go the other way. Wiggins rises above, friendly rim.
Good soft touch. You know, I don't know about you, but Wiggins has got 10 shots so far. Again, we're seeing him be more and more aggressive at points as the season goes on. Tough shot.
Kansas on a 12-2 run. Mason.
Watch out for Brandon Green now. He usually likes to knock one down here every first half.
Bob Huggins' team, they've won 3 straight and adjusting to life in the Big 12.
He loves this team, and this team's going to be together for a long time. He's got a couple guys sitting out. He was raving about the JUCO Jonathan Holton to us before the game, 6'7". Very similar to a George Niang type.
He feels good about the future of his team. He thinks that they're going to keep getting better and better.
Yes. Problem is this whole league is getting better.
Trailer is fouled.
I've known Bob Huggins, John, for 30 years. His dad, a great high school coach in Ohio when I was a young coach. First head coaching job was at Walsh College in the Canton-Akron area, and then, of course, on to Akron, Cincinnati. Restarted that program over in Manhattan, Kansas, that Frank Martin did a great job with, and he's headed to the Hall of Fame someday. And think about it. He's never taken the easiest jobs. Akron, Cincinnati was down when he got there. Certainly K-State was as well. But he's back home where he played.
Yeah, his alma mater. This job got to pull on the heartstrings a bit.
You know where he started his college basketball career? I bet you do. Ohio University. Spent 1 year there and then transferred down to West Virginia.
He's a really good player.
His brother Larry was a pretty good player at Ohio State back in the early 80s.
Harris from way downtown.
Yeah, those are heat checks now.
Green throws it away as Wiggins was cutting to the rim.
Green gets about 2 or 3 minutes every first half for Bill Self, and more often than not, he'll knock down the open three. Watched him in practice in October, and he was on Brandon Green time and not Bill Self time, but the coaching staff loves his offensive ability.
Not lacking for confidence.
Nope, and that's not a bad thing at all.
Under 90 seconds to go here, first half. Mountaineers need a bucket. Staten has it stripped away.
Oh, nice catch.
And Black will go to the line. But again, that duo, Tarik Black, Jamari Traylor, playing very well.
And it started with the strip of Staten by Frank Mason Jr.
Both Black and Traylor with 7 points.
A couple weeks ago, Frank Mason's dad was in town to watch some basketball. He's from Harlem, so we happen to know a lot of the same people. And he asked me, he said, "What do you think of my son? How's he doing? What's he got to get better at?" And I said, "Your son's playing 18 minutes a game at Kansas as a freshman. Relax."
He's doing just fine.
He's doing just fine.
Traylor bumps Staten. Kind of a silly foul there. Second on Traylor. And they'll march down to the other end, 1-1 for State. West Virginia down by 9, 1:13 to go. Beg your pardon, it's 2 shots, double bonus.
Now that second foul gave Landon Lucas an opportunity to play, the redshirt freshman from Portland. Staten's scoring has been somewhat quiet, John, but been really impressed with his ability to just run his team. This guy leads the Big 12 in free throws attempted. Came in shooting, look at that, 175, John. You notice every guy on that list is what? Point guard.
Guys that are able to get to the rim.
Yep.
Timeout called Kansas. That's a 30-second.
Timeout Kansas, 41-34.
For the home game against TCU.
It's rare that you see a guard shoot it from 3 as infrequently as Staten does. I think he's taken 5 threes the entire season. It's usually not that severe, but there's that group again with Staten, Smart, Woodard, Kane, and Taylor, who we saw last Saturday.
You know what this speaks to? I love it when people talk about points in the paint, and you automatically assume it's big guys. But it's guards who can get a piece of the paint off the dribble, that can get to the rim, that can drop it off to their big men, that are the reason you score points in the paint.
And do it themselves as well. ESPN's journey to the tourney continues Wednesday. A clash in the ACC. Syracuse and Pitt, number 1 and number 25. It's Wednesday at 7 on ESPN, also live on Watch ESPN. You wonder if whoever wins that game will, at the end, the coach, whether it's Mr. Dixon or Mr. Boeheim, say, this wasn't an ACC game.
Well, I think Jim Boeheim's the Big East Coach of the Year.
Game, yeah.
He's the Big East Coach of the Year right now.
Yeah.
It's the Big Atlantic East Conference. That's what I'm calling it.
I mean, let's be honest. This year, that conference has been buoyed big time by the infusion from the former Big East teams. Wiggins at the rim, absorbs contact, couldn't finish.
John, you know what? He misses shots because his eyes are not on the rim. You got to make close-in shots with your eyes.
They get a foul on Brandon Green.
Bill Self's not going to like that because these are free points if Brown can make these. Gary Brown from Puerto Rico has been a good, valuable reserve for 3 seasons. Played at the same high school as Rodney Magruder, Arlington Country Day in Jacksonville.
West Virginia hanging around, Fran, despite being in a pretty good shooting drought.
Well, I think Bob Huggins is going to really like at least a lot of the things this team has done in terms of coming into a tough place.
Last field goal for the Mountaineers, the 7:36 mark, and yet here they are within 5. Kansas a hold for the last shot.
We've got 4 freshmen out there for Kansas right now.
Wiggins to Green, he launches. Oh, Wiggins the follow in the flush. On Tuesday, he hit a buzzer beater at half court against Baylor.
Bill Self said that was a set play. Maybe this was too. When you play zone, you better get a body. Because here comes Aaron Wiggins.
Time now to send it back to the studio. Adnan Burke and Seth Greenberg.
All right, John, Fran, thank you very much. It is the Mazda halftime report. Let's kick it off with Rick Barnes and number 25 Texas taking on Kansas State.
Texas won 6 in a row, 4 against top 20 teams.
First half, this would be a different story for them, though. Marcus Foster, the alley-oop, K-State was up by 6.
Marcus Foster does a nice job of getting behind the defense. Good recognition by Kansas State.
More from Foster, Seth, as we'll see him here. Knocked down the three-pointer. K-State was up 25-9.
You talk about freshman focus. Marcus Foster, one of the better freshman guards in college basketball.
In the second half, the flush, he had 34 points. Andy Katz called it. K-State wins easily.
5 for 8 from the three-point line, 13 for 16 from the field.
DeAndre Kane, Big Daddy Kane, in Iowa State facing TCU. Iowa State up 9-2 early. It'll be Naz Long. Tough layup here in transition.
Naz Long finishes. He made a huge shot at Oklahoma State for that road win for the Cyclones. But this is a terrific passing team. They've got 11 assists on 12 field goals. Matt Thomas with a deep 3.
Iowa State up by 11. Then it's DeAndre Kane finding Melvin Edgem. This is spectacular.
When you're playing against the zone, you got to get someone behind the defense. Great execution for the Cyclones.
Iowa State up by 12 in that one as we continue with a look at the game that we're currently watching. For Kansas right now, especially down low, what are they doing so well offensively?
30 points in the paint. They're producing these points in the paint, not just with Andrew Wiggins' dunks and Joel Embiid, but guys coming off the bench and making plays like Tyreek Black and Jamari Traylor. But here, special situations. Bill Self is as good as any coach in the country. Little inside screen underneath that of bounds. Andrew Wiggins, he is a tad bit of an elite athlete. You can throw it anywhere around the rim and he can finish. But this is Kansas basketball. The high-low offense. Watch how the spacing. Everyone is outside the three-point line. Jamari Traylor puts the defender up the lane, targets away from the defense. Terrific pass. Bill Self, they're executing in the half court. But more importantly, those two upperclassmen, Jamari Traylor and Tyreek Black, they combined for 14 points off the bench.
Now, Jayhawks have won 10 straight games at home versus unranked opponents looking to keep it going versus West Virginia. Elsewhere, Michigan and Iowa. And welcome to the Roy Devin Marble Show. Mike Gazelle will find Marble for 3. Marble had the first 9 points of the game.
Marble struggled against Ohio State early in the week. Today, he took over this basketball game. 22 points in the first half. In transition, you must find Roy Devin Marble.
Yeah, 22 points he had in the first half. Iowa's up by 14 at the half.
Great little curl comes behind the play, but this is where Michigan really struggled. Defensive transition. Adam Woodbury, the Indiana fans didn't think he can dunk. Quiet down, Indiana fans. He finishes. Right now, this is an Iowa basketball team. They needed this win for people to take them seriously. They lost the opportunity to Michigan State. They lost to Ohio State. They defend home court tonight.
They had struggled against ranked teams this season, winning just once in 5 tries against the top 25, but turning it around with a torrid shooting day beyond the arc and winning the turnover battle rather comfortably. Still to come here on the Mazda halftime report. Florida Gators, the first game of our quadruple header today on ESPN. How they look great against Alabama. That's next.
Welcome back to the Mazda Halftime Report.
Adnan Burke and Seth Greenberg as we continue taking a look at the game that took place at noon Eastern on ESPN. Bama and Florida and Trevor Relaford, 16 points in the first half, Coach.
This was a tale of 3 halves. Florida opens up 12-2. All of a sudden, Travis Relaford, he takes over the game. Alabama goes zoned, and Florida struggled against that zone. But once they started to figure out that zone, they got out in transition, and the game was over.
You saw Scotty Wilbekin there finding Casey Prather, then Bama full court press. What a look by Dorian Finney-Smith to Chris Walker.
Dorian Finney-Smith, a 6', 8" point forward, drops the dime.
Wilbekin then breaking the press. He'll find Prather again. Gators win it, 78-69.
Great job, Florida, attacking the press to score.
And taking a look at their schedule going forward, you'll see plenty of them on ESPN. Tennessee, Kentucky, that's Tuesday and Saturday, and February 25th at Vanderbilt.
Huge week for Florida. 2 road games. Tennessee, a must-win game for Tennessee if they're going to be taken seriously as an NCAA tournament team.
Kentucky Wildcats always taken seriously with John Calipari as the coach. Facing Mississippi State, Aaron Harrison the steal, Julius Randle the flush.
Aaron Harrison jamming the outlet, Julius Randle the recipient of a nice drop-off pass.
Later in the second, Jared Polson driving. It's Randle again, 8 of 13, 16 points.
The benefit of dribble penetration. You get in the lane, you force a second defender, high percentage shot.
Willie Cauley-Stein fed in the paint, the rim rocker.
Willie Cauley-Stein doing a nice job of finding an open spot in that zone, getting behind the defense.
Jamie Dixon and his Pitt Panthers, 5 minutes in, he looks furious right now.
He's a little stressed out. It's February.
Hosting the Virginia Tech Hokies, a little over 30 seconds left in regulation. Cameron Wright, James Robinson, and one.
4-point lead. You cannot foul the 3-point jump shooter. Jarrell Eddy, huge mistake.
Still tied. Vatek possession. Eddy cops it up, and it's Pitt ball. So we're going to overtime.
Great help by the Pitt defense, shrinking the court, digging that ball out. Think about overtime. This game goes 2 overtimes. Only 1 field goal was made, and it was by the Panthers.
Yeah, Devin Wilson trying to hit the game-winning jumper. Blocked by Lamar Patterson. Tied at 52. Cameron Wright to Patterson. Pitt wins it 62-57.
Patterson finds an open area in the zone. That was his only field goal of the game. He was a 17-point-a-game scorer.
More ACC scores here as you see Virginia over Georgia Tech. Maryland right now still beating the Seminoles. Under a minute to go there. NC State by 1 over Miami. And North Carolina, James Michael McAdoo, 18 points and 8 rebounds in the victory there.
Big week for Carolina. Carolina Duke Wednesday.
No question about that. Rodney Hood and Duke going to be facing Boston College. That's the game coming up after the one that you are watching. And what has been a fantastic day of college basketball here on Saturday. Duke Boston College next on ESPN. Gonzaga Memphis also a good one at 9 Eastern. Back with more right after this.
This halftime report is presented by Mazda. It takes conviction, creativity, and courage to build cars worth driving. This is the Mazda way. What do you drive? This halftime report is presented by Mazda. It takes conviction, creativity, and courage to build cars worth driving. This is the Mazda way. What do you drive?
Didn't know Bill Clinton was cheering for Kansas. 2 men's teams and 2 women's teams left with unblemished records, and 3 of them play tomorrow. Is it going to stay that way, Coach?
I think it's going to stay that way, but that Clemson-Syracuse game, first to 55 wins.
Should be a lot of fun. And first, that top 5 matchup for the women. Shawnee Schimmel and Louisville visiting top-ranked UConn at 1 on ESPN. In terms of the game that we are watching, what are some second-half adjustments both teams will have to make?
I think for Bobby Huggins, you're telling your team you cannot play offensively on emotion. You've got to read advantage, disadvantage. If you don't have a room and rhythm shot, let's run offense and get the shot we want. And if you're Bill Self, let's continue to pound that thing inside. We've got 30 points in the paint. Let's run our offense, get the ball reversed, isolate our low post people, and play off of that.
Maple Jordan, Andrew Wiggins, 10 points at the half. The second half is coming up right after this.
Welcome back to Saturday Showcase, presented by 5 Hour Energy. And here at Allen Fieldhouse, we get ready for second half action. Number 8 Kansas up by 7 on West Virginia. Hey folks, John Sciambi and Fran Fraschilla. West Virginia was in a major drought, went about 7.5 minutes, the final 7.5 minutes without a field goal, yet they've stuck around. How'd they done it?
Well, they made some free throws down the stretch, John, and then Aaron Harris has been lights out. Juwan Staten's been really solid. He's probably going to get a little more aggressive this second half.
All right, let's go inside the play. Kansas, meanwhile, no surprise, doing damage in the paint.
No, 62% inside the arc, and this is the 2 game. Take a look now. Watch how they seal up the lane. This pass is aimed at the corner of the backboard. And you'll see if you work the defender up the lane, makes for a very easy opportunity for Jamari Traylor to score. A reason why he's shooting over 70% from the air. And take a look, John, at what Kansas is doing in the painted area.
Yeah, 13 for 15 inside the painted area.
Or as our good buddy Yubi would say, the painted area. Okay, come on.
You know, Kansas is going to try more of the same. West Virginia trying to get it inbounds to start. And Staten tracks it down. Mountaineers basketball. They try and get it going on the offensive end.
Tharp's got 2 fouls.
That rainbow from Staten wouldn't go, and Embiid pulls down the board. Quiet first half for Joel Embiid. He battled foul trouble.
And West Virginia with a boatload of guys with 2 fouls as well, including Devin Williams, who just secured that rebound.
Harris puts it on the floor. Left hand wouldn't go. Offensive rebound put back. Devin Williams.
Well, that started because of dribble penetration and a drive by Harris. What you like about Harris is not settling for the 3, but getting to the rim. 1-3-1 now. West Virginia showed this at the end of the first half, John. It's a feast or famine defense. Kansas usually picks this kind of defense apart. They need something to slow Kansas down inside.
And Selden is fouled. That one is on Remy Debo, his 3rd.
Debo playing with FIBA rules so far in this game. It's a little more physical across the Atlantic.
Wiggins gets fouled. No, they say offensive foul.
Well, that was an interesting call in this regard. There was a foul up top on the shot, and Wiggins ran the defender over. The question is, what happened first? There's the drive. I think that foul up top occurred first, but you at least like Andrew Wiggins trying to attack and be aggressive in this game, John.
He hasn't shied away from contact today.
That's why now you got Selden on Staten.
Shot clock under 10.
Oh boy, travel. Harris is trying to do too much, John, and here's why. They're doing a good job with Selden of taking away Staten and his ability to have the ball in his hands. But Harris is just not a break you down player. He plays better off of Staten's penetration.
Embiid inside, lost the handle, finally puts it in. Joel Embiid with his first field goal of the game.
It's a big stretch for West Virginia, first 4 minutes. They've played very well. They don't want to get knocked out here.
Wiggins slices in and he's fouled. They're going to get that foul on State. It's number 1 on State. So Wiggins at the line.
Well, you certainly can't complain about his effort today. Andrew Wiggins been very aggressive, attacking the rim. I mentioned this about Rico Gathers last year as a freshman at Baylor. You saw Rico Gathers this week. He's one of the best rebounders in the country. He doesn't finish as well as he could because he takes his eyes off the rim, Guarantee you when you watch Andrew Wiggins on tape, he's got to eye the rim a little bit better. Look at that speed. Look at that speed.
My goodness. State and one. Just knifing through the defense, and he'll go to the line.
He had a very quiet 9. Watch the speed right to the rim, not afraid of challenging Embiid. I mentioned, John, he had a quiet 9 points in the first half. He did not miss a shot, 3 for 3. He's going to have to get a little bit more aggressive.
Foul on Wayne Selden Jr., his third.
I told you earlier, I don't know who the first team all Big 12 team will be at this point, mid-February. He will be on it. That's a lock.
And where is he in Player of the Year mix?
Well, I think unless they have a great run and continue to win these games they're winning, I think he needs to settle for first team all conference. But he's obviously one of the best players in the league right now.
Harris and Wiggins get tied up, and they get Wiggins.
That was just an unfortunate play, John, because Harris went to the body. Take a look. And in backing up, Wiggins just got caught high, and it looked like he pulled him down. So you take a look. It's a block out, and I'm not sure Wiggins really did much there, but it was enough for Mike Roberts to call that. He almost had to call that. But it started with a very good block out by Harris.
5-point game.
Shot selection critical now for the Mountaineers.
Williams rejected by Embiid. Tharp in and out, and West Virginia can cut into a 5-point deficit right here.
West Virginia running 5-man motion now, something Bob Huggins has run most of his career. Open post.
Adrian, good shooter. The native of Morgantown, West Virginia, gets them to within 2.
You notice Williams and Adrian were on the three-point line. It spread the floor.
Mountaineers on the road playing well. Kansas leading this one by 2 as Bob Huggins gathers the troops around. Let's go inside the play, Fran.
When you run 5-man motion, John, it means basically that your big guys oftentimes will be spread out on the floor. That brings Kansas's guys away from the basket. But now when you get it inside, it opens up that perimeter game for a stretch 4-man like Nathan Adrian knocking it down. A staple of Bob Huggins basketball, 5-man motion.
He's got shooters, Henderson, as well as Nathan Adrian, and obviously Aaron Harris, a very good shooter, and then Debo, a big guy who can step up.
They're going to stay in that 1-3-1 again.
Mason picked up his dribble, needs help, finally finds Traylor.
Remember when John Beilein was at West Virginia and they played a lot of 1-3-1? There's a nice drive.
Wiggins contested and then fouled by Adrian.
And when Bob Huggins came to West Virginia, he wanted to continue to use that defense with some of Beilein's guys, and
back here at Allen Fieldhouse, John Shambi, Fran Fraschilla, Saturday Showcase presented by 5-Hour Energy. And number 8, Kansas, leading this one by a deuce. West Virginia's done a nice job hanging around. Always a good crowd on hand. Bob Huggins' team goes on the road. This would be a monstrous road win if the Mountaineers can pull it off.
And that is an understatement.
Yeah.
This is a team that in Kansas does not lose many home games. Last one was, I believe, the Oklahoma State game a year ago. Before that, Texas came in here.
Kansas has won 110 in a row at home against unranked opponents. That kind of says it all.
Yes, it does.
Wiggins gets them both, and it's a 4-point game.
Mason Tharp lineup now, the 2-point guards.
Oh, Embiid stepped in, and they got him for the foul.
No argument from Embiid. Pretty good piece of officiating by David Hall.
Embiid with 3.
It's kind of interesting, John. Joel Embiid has been very, very unassuming the last 3 ball games. Now just 5 of 17, I think, from the field, and not really having a much impact on the ball game. West Virginia right now. Don't settle for contested shots.
Brown's three wouldn't go, and Wiggins rebounded.
I love Gary Brown's energy, but that's not his strength.
Mason tries. State did such a good job just probing the defense, got into the paint a little bit, and then found Watkins.
Well, he's not putting up prolific numbers, but boy, he's running his team like Russell Wilson today. West Virginia staying in that 1-3-1 zone.
And Perry Ellis is fouled. A couple of premier programs square off tomorrow afternoon. It's number 4 Louisville and number 1 UConn. So that's Sunday at 1. It's live on Watch ESPN. Some women's college basketball coming your way.
Boy, Breanna Stewart, she is a tremendous player. Most outstanding player of the Final Four as a freshman. Look at his speed. Look at his speed.
Might have gotten a piece of that shot deflected. Out of bounds, it belongs to Kansas.
Well, Bob Huggins not happy. You know, it's interesting about State, and we mentioned he's only about 5'11", but he makes more shots at the rim than a guy his size should make. He makes 62% of his shots in the lane.
Well, you can definitely see him adjusting and using angles and adjusting the height on his shot in order to avoid guys like Embiid from blocking it. Mason and one. There's a little guy weaving into traffic and getting it done.
Take a look. Watch him take it body to body right there. Well done. If you're the smaller player, watch him go body to body, and he neutralizes Williams' ability to leave his feet. Tough kid. Good defender.
Petersburg down there. What's that?
Yeah, no. Home of Moses Malone.
Yep.
I remember his second game of the year. He had 15 against Duke. Most of those from the free throw line.
So Kansas, the lead is 5. Williams picked up that last foul. He's got 3 along with 3 other Mountaineers.
See, if you're going to run this motion now, you got to change sides of the floor. Right now, Kansas is locking in on one side.
Not sure, Aaron Harris may have rolled the ankle a little bit.
Yep. That's a good piece of officiating right there by Rick Hartzell. Watch, he just steps the wrong way. You see his ankle? Well, the fans are not happy, but that's called good sportsmanship right there.
Shot clock under 10. Staten pulls up. Wow. Tough shot. It's at 2.
I'm telling you, John. You know, you're so right about him not shooting that three-point shot, but he's really good inside the arc, and not just on those drives.
He shot 38% from the floor last year.
Yep. I was just going to say, he's so much better. He's so much better than he was as a sophomore.
Mason takes it back for Kansas. Now Wiggins. And Wiggins will shoot 2. Andrew Wiggins with 13 in this game. And they get the foul on Adrian. That was number 4 on Adrian.
John, I want you to watch Andrew Wiggins on this drive when we show the replay. Watch how his eyes are not on the rim. And I'm not nitpicking because he's doing so many things. But he's going to drive. He's going to draw contact. And he's not really, you know, focusing and following through with his eyes on the rim. You make layups and inside shots with your eyes.
And when there's contact, though, and defenders in the mix, sometimes
that's
not going to happen,
You know
right?
what that's called? Focus. And again, he's a young player with a lot of positive attributes.
Aaron Harris back on the court after rolling that ankle. Kicks to Debo. I believe it's Brandon Watkins. Indeed it is. He picks up a foul. That's his third. West Virginia hanging around. They're down 5 right here. That, by the way, the foul on Watkins, team foul number 7 on West Virginia. 4 team fouls on Kansas. So Tarik Black will shoot the front end of the 1-and-1. Black, who started his career at Memphis. He's played the last 2, missed the 2 games prior with a bad ankle.
He had somewhat pedestrian numbers at Memphis, but because of his size and experience, he was reasonably highly recruited in the early part of the summer and chose to come here to Kansas, where he's filled a nice role off the bench.
Do you like that final year? You can kind of go wherever you want to go as long as another school has a different major rule.
I mean, that part of it's a sham, obviously. Oh yeah, I'm going to go get my mechanical engineering major because we didn't have it at Memphis. But I like the idea of rewarding a student athlete who gets his degree. Look at that move. How about that?
Kind of quick.
Remember, he started his career at Dayton for Brian Gregory. Was a top 100 player
from Dayton.
Yeah, had a good freshman year. All rookie team in the Atlantic 10.
Wiggins a 3. Tharp tracks it down. He'll try one. Block on Tarik Black.
Well, John, we talked about Juwan Staten all game long. Take a look at this move to the rim. What shot blockers? Where'd you go?
I'm Dan Burke, Seth Greenberg in our college basketball studios, updating you on TCU and Iowa State here in transition off the miss. It'll be DeAndre Kane setting to Melvin Ejim to the rack.
Melvin Ejim showing his versatility. 33 points, 2 threes, and 15 boards.
Only missed 3 field goals, and also Missouri and Ole Miss. Marshall Henderson here forcing their turnover. Look at that dish.
Marshall Henderson, 3 assists, but he's got 5 3-point baskets.
Back to John and Fred.
All right, fellas, thanks. Kansas by 5. You get a chance to see Iowa State on Monday, that marathon game.
Yep. Melvin Ejim. Adnan Vert's going to be happy about his performance today. He's probably slapping Seth high five, another Canadian who will also be on the Big 12 first team. I think Iowa State actually will have 2 guys.
And Kane?
Yeah, you know, the hardest part for Kansas is you could put 4 guys on the first team all conference, really. I mean, who do you leave off? But I know Ejim's going to be on there.
Embiid inside, he's fouled.
And listen, if you're Bill Self, you'd rather have a team that's ranked in the top 5 or 6 or 8, whatever they are, not worry about first team all conference and have a juggernaut of a team,
right,
which he has.
At the line, Joel Embiid, shooting 2.
Been a tough go of late for Joel Embiid. Now, Fran, one of the places you start, and I'll concede I'm just saying this anecdotally, but Embiid doesn't seem the last 3 games to have gotten the paint touches we're used to seeing him get. And so the numbers down, he's definitely gotten into foul trouble as well.
In the 2 games prior to this one, he played against the 2 longest teams in the league in Texas and Baylor. Texas did not double team him. They played him straight up. And I just think it's one of those things with Kansas's offense that they had so many places they can go. They don't have to rely on any one guy to be really effective.
Williams way off the mark. Selden turns it over. Williams inside.
That's good, D.
Williams again. And Williams goes down hard to the floor.
Good patience by the freshman Devin Williams. First of all, watch Embiid. He just stays down until Williams leaves his feet. That's textbook. And then you like the aggressiveness of the freshman from Cincinnati. Great block at the top right there. One thing about Joel Embiid, John, he's going to be inconsistent game to game, but he has such a great feel for the game at this stage of his career. I'm not sure what he should do, whether he should stay or come out.
We told our Jeff Goodman when we did the game Tuesday at Baylor that he was thinking more about the fact that he probably wasn't ready and that he'd stay in school.
Well, he's got to say that in early February. You know what I mean? He just can't. You know the national news he would make if he said, oh, yeah, I'm coming out after the. But I looked at the box scores from last night's NBA games. Name me 3 or 4 rookies who are doing anything that were drafted in the first round. So there are pros and cons, obviously, when you're talking about financial security vis-a-vis how much you'll improve with another year.
Wiggins soaring at the basket, puts it in. Got 17 in this one.
I would say since the early part of the Big 12, we're seeing more and more of that kind of aggressiveness from Andrew Wiggins.
Harris spinning, little out of control, lost the handle. Eventually it's Perry Ellis coming up with it.
Excellent defense by Wiggins on that possession.
Tharp a 3. Black pulls down the board and gives it off to Selden. He'll set it back up. Selden a 3.
Selden's the hero, but Tarik Black made the play.
West Virginia calls timeout, and all of a sudden The lead is at 9 for Kansas.
Now, Tarik Black came up with that loose ball, and then the rest is history. There's the drive, the kick out, which came after Tarik Black's hustle play. Good find by Nadir Tharp.
Wayne Selden Jr. on the season, averaging a little over 10 points a game, 47% from the floor. Pretty good three-point shooter.
If you look at this Kansas offense, John, you essentially have 5 guys in double figures. Tharp on the season is close, but in Big 12 play, he's been outstanding. But this is what makes them so good, is how do you game plan for their inside game? How do you game plan for Selden? How do you game plan for transition? And how do you game plan for Tharp when he's on knocking down shots?
And then the thing, if you were to nitpick, and I think Bill Self would even concede this, final 2 minutes of the game, where's the ball go? Who's the takeover guy?
That's it.
They haven't figured it out yet.
They haven't figured that part out yet, but
you got choices.
But Bill Self will figure it out, trust me.
Yep. In the end, scoring really has not been a huge issue or an issue at all for Kansas. Brown.
Nice pass.
Staten to Watkins.
Staten's been very, very quietly outstanding today. Good finish by the freshman Watkins. Remember, this entire West Virginia team's coming back.
Ellis goes left hand.
It's another guy we haven't talked about all game because of his foul trouble. Black foul.
Tarik Black grabbing Watkins' jersey. That's Black's third.
Probably fairly easy recruitment of Brandon Watkins. Mentioned his uncle, Warren Baker, in the West Virginia Hall of Fame from White Sulphur Springs, West Virginia. He was a teammate of Bob Huggins, and Brandon Watkins grew up in the Atlanta area.
Well, Bob Huggins said he had known about Watkins for a little while.
I would say probably his whole life, or at least since he was 12 years old and 6 feet tall. Right? You look at Watkins, you look at Adrian, some of these guards. But if you're a West Virginia fan, you can't get too excited because everybody is going to be good in this league the next couple of years. But certainly Bob Huggins really optimistic. Cross screen inside, John, but they can't get to it because it's good defense. Yep, Bill Self called timeout there.
The 30-second timeout.
So timeout, Kansas, 8-point game. You surprised West Virginia has hung around like this the entire game?
Well, you obviously are. You'd be lying if you said you weren't because of how good Kansas usually plays in here. On the other hand, you know, Bob Huggins had said something interesting before this game. He said Al McGuire once told him, you know your program has arrived when you fear nobody on the road. Now, he had some great teams at Cincinnati, but his point is, in order to win on the road, you must have confidence you can play well. They have, and it's been because, in large part, Juwan Staten, the junior from Dayton. Just an outstanding junior year, John. His decision-making is excellent. He's scoring. He's making mid-range jumpers. He's dropping dimes. Really solid performance by Juwan Staten. Remember, Aaron Harris, who had 13 in the first half, has not scored in a long time.
Harris scored at the 11:33 mark of the first half. That was his last made field goal. They need a free throw at 6:16 in the first half. Hasn't scored since, so they got to get him back involved. And Aaron Harris is their second leading scorer. get the foul on Watkins. That's number 4. This guy's had a good game today.
He's a blacksmith. He's a hard-working guy, knows his role. Remember, he started the early part of the season. Embiid came off the bench. The problem with Tarik Black is he just couldn't stay out of foul trouble.
It was hard for him to stay on the court.
Mm-hmm.
It's the 1 out of 2. Another 8.5 to go here, second half. Kansas hasn't been able to break it open. Jayhawks lead it by 9.
Staten getting a little rest right now.
Harris missed everything.
And a lot of that had to do with the 6'8" guy that was guarding him, Andrew Wiggins, who, by the way, he'll guard Marcus Foster Monday night in at Manhattan. Marcus Foster coming off a career game today in that win over Texas.
Yeah, 34 for Foster. Most points scored by a player in the Big 12 this year is Juwan Staten, 35. Selden with the jump stop, and he's fouled. So Kansas on top here. When we come back, we'll take a look at the weather with meteorologist Fran Fraschilla. Welcome back. Saturday Showcase presented by 5 Hour Energy. John Shambi and our weatherman, Fran Fraschilla. All right, Big 12 Conference, RPI #1 in the country. So what's the forecast, Mr. Weatherman?
Well, you know, we're in a part of the country where it changes every 10 minutes, so why would it be any different with my forecast? Kansas and Iowa State right now, sunny. I think Oklahoma, Kansas State, Texas rolling along fairly well. Stormy at Oklahoma State. They have the biggest game of their season tonight in Lubbock, a sellout at the United Spirit. Big game for Oklahoma State. Certainly they need to get back on track, get into the sunny column, and Baylor scratching and clawing, trying to get back into this. West Virginia also, I would say right now it's partly sunny for the Mountaineers, but there's certainly there's a low pressure system coming through Morgantown, which I think is good.
By the way, Melvin Ejim with 44 points today for Iowa State taking on TCU.
He's one of those guys, you know, for every transfer that Fred Hoiberg has taken, Ejim has been there since day one. And you look at George Niang, he's only a sophomore with 2 more years to play.
Kansas dominating in the paint, a 38-16 advantage on points in the paint. West Virginia's been able to get to the line, knock down their free throws. Selden gets that one. 10-point game, largest lead for Kansas. Williams backs down. Ellis comes with a double team. They go possession arrow, and it belongs to Kansas.
They ran the post-up play for the freshman Watkins, but trying to get through Tariq Black, not an easy proposition. Perry Ellis came over and double-teamed him, tied it up. Staying in that 1-3-1, John. Not good.
Great look, Selden to Ellis. Well, you talked about a risk-reward type of defense that it is, and right there, the risk ended up hurting an easy bucket for the Jayhawks.
The weak side wing has got to rotate down. When I saw him way out on the floor, take a look right now. There's nobody protecting the basket. And you see Ellis all alone. And it is a risk-reward defense. Take a look. You see 3, 4 blue jerseys above the three-point line. Not good when you're in that 1-3-1 trap.
Bob Huggins, West Virginia Mountaineers have won 3 straight, coming off the win in overtime against Oklahoma. A very good win. Here on the road with their work cut out for them with 7:17 to go.
And you know, if someone's asking, well, why aren't they mostly sunny in my February forecast? Well, the next 8 games, 6 are against ranked teams. 4 of those teams are on the road. Yeah. So you love the improvement this team has made, but the reality is they've got some tough places left to travel to in this league, and it's not an easy travel league for the Mountaineers.
Yeah, they have a really tough travel schedule. Harris at the rim, and he'll shoot 2. I mean, that's something that was a problem the first year, and I don't know that it's really been alleviated entirely for Bob Huggins' team. West Virginia traveling in this league, it's pretty grueling.
Last year there were 9 separate road trips. This year, I think there have been 7. They started the season at TCU and Texas Tech. They had another 2-game road swing, which helps a little bit, John, but still a difficult league to travel in. The closest school to West Virginia in the Big 12 is Iowa State.
Aaron Harris able to get both of those. Still doesn't have a field goal since about midway through that first half. And a travel on trailer.
By the way, you like Marcus Foster from Kansas State?
Yeah, 34 today, a lot.
Guess who's guarding him Monday night? Andrew Wiggins.
Yeah.
Guess who guarded him in the first game in here? Andrew Wiggins. Did a good job on him. He sure did.
Yeah.
Doing a great job right now on Harris.
Brown fires and knocks it down.
Mary Brown's 13th 3 of the season. West Virginia is a stop and a score away from being right back in this.
Get the foul on Devin Williams. Still to come, Duke on the road at Conte Forum, taking on Boston College. Our primetime game, Gonzaga and Memphis, and then Wichita State will try and stay unbeaten. That is our promo.
You and I and Scotty Gustafson, our producer, we're going to go get some Biggs barbecue and watch Baylor, Oklahoma, and then get a chance to see Oklahoma State at Texas Tech.
I'm going to to sneak a peek at that Gonzaga-Memphis game.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
interested to watch that.
Well, they got a lot of TVs in there. Yeah. When you're eating your banana pudding.
Another 6 to go here at Allen Fieldhouse.
Well, I'd like this for West Virginia if they can score right here. 3 would be great too. How about that move?
Goodness.
You can't stop him one-on-one, John. He's got as good a change of speed as there is in the country. I don't know who the fastest end-to-end guy in the country is. I've not been consulted by the Track and Field Association. He's got great change of direction speed.
He would definitely fall into the category of top guys hardest to keep in front of.
Yeah, reminds me of Jahi Carson with Arizona State. Similar type player.
Harris will shoot 2, so an opportunity to get points with the clock stopped for the Mountaineers. 6-point game, 5:15 to go. 19 fouls on Kansas, 10 on West Virginia, so they'll shoot 2 every foul the rest of the way.
You know, I hate to say it this way, but remember how mediocre Juwan Staten was last year? And you know, I'm talking to Bob Huggins today. He just said, well, and actually talking to Juwan, the coach, I was listening to too many people last year, and I felt the weight of the world on me because everybody in the state of West Virginia thought I was going to be Chris Paul, the savior. Now I just worry about my teammates and my coaches.
He's pretty electric. 18 points today for Staten. And helping to keep things close. Kansas by 4. Wiggins is fouled.
Be interested to see. Yep, Harris puts his hand up quickly. It was clean at the top. Harris must have reached in. It's a tough break. Remember when Harris fouled out at Oklahoma State? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, they put
Watkins,
it on Watkins,
yeah.
And that's his 5th, so he's done.
That's why Harris raised his hand.
Yep. Trying to keep Brandon Watkins in the game.
It's a good teammate, right?
I mean, again, early on, West Virginia, their bigs dealt with foul trouble.
It's part of the reason you've seen West Virginia play so much zone in the second half. Bob Huggins just got a free timeout right there. The fans are restless.
Yep.
It's good coaching.
Got to take advantage of it.
You get 30 seconds to sub in for a player that's fouled out. Bob Huggins got his money's worth.
Andrew Wiggins here today, 6 out of 14 from the floor. With Franny's definitely been more aggressive about trying to get the ball at the basket. Embiid rebound and he's fouled. And the big guy will shoot 2.
It's one of the most underrated, unappreciated defensive assignments right now, and that is blocking out on a missed free throw. If you look in the lane, 2 guys squeeze on the white jersey. You got a one-on-one versus the other big, and the last blue jersey gets the shooter. See if you can leave that up, guys, because these 2 guys should box out the best rebounder. Somebody's got to get the shooter.
Wiggins knocks it down to make it a 7-point game.
Oh, nice set.
Harris got a pretty good look at it, although contested.
I'm not sure Andrew Wiggins didn't get a piece of that.
Close quickly. It'll stay with Kansas.
This was a great set play, and it looked like Harris is going to be wide open. And then watch Wiggins, John. I'm not sure if he got it or not. And Mountaineer fans, the hands part of the ball on the follow through. I don't think he got him on the wrist necessarily. But the closing speed was outstanding.
Well, Wiggins is really long, too. I mean, he's 6'8". Got that wingspan as Ellis had his shot blocked. And it'll be West Virginia basketball.
Well, I think that's one of the places he's going to hang his hat on in the NBA level. I think he can be an elite defender. And already moving in that direction, no question. Last time down, West Virginia got a really good look. Let's see what they have now.
Debo a three.
And that's a play they used to run for Kevin Jones to get a quick three right there.
State with a steal. Sprinting ahead, State in his foul. 3:49 to go. Kansas up by 7. Coming up, guys in the studio, I'll tell you about Melvin Ejim. What a game he's having for the Cyclones.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by 5 Hour Energy. Focus is the feeling of clarity and alertness. It's the feeling you get from 5 Hour Energy. And in part by Jared, the Galleria of Jewelry. Truly unique designs that you won't find just anywhere. That's why he went to Jared.
Adnan Burke, Seth Kramer, been a tough time for Toronto with Mayor Rob Ford representing the city. But how about Melvin Ejim, 48 and 18 tonight, Coach?
Shows his versatility. Knocked down 2 threes, got to the line 6 times, ran the floor, got a couple of post up, got 16 rebounds. And how about Iowa State? 27 assists on 32 field goals.
David West, 11 years ago to the day, 47 and 18. You look at Ejim's numbers with Blake Griffin, Michael Beasley, and Kevin Durant, 35 or more points and 15 or more boards in a game. More banana pudding for him, John.
Well, Ejim setting the Big 12 record, most points in a game by a Big 12 player.
While Adnan Burke was all excited about the Canadian, Juwan State went 1 for 2 from the foul line.
So we got a 6-point game, and Embiid throws it down.
got out of this timeout. Usually something pretty good.
Just have not been able to get Aaron Harris much.
There it is.
Step through, finger roll. No, offensive foul.
The reason that Selden picked up the charge is because Andrew Wiggins blew that set play up. Versus anybody else in the league, they would have gotten an open jump shot. We're showing you the end of the play right there in the charge. That play was totally blown up for the second time in the last couple minutes by Andrew Wiggins' defensive presence.
Tharp will try. Oh, that's a dagger right there. Debo. Say he's had some good looks at it, just hasn't been able to knock him down.
Sure has.
Here's Selden. Flips it up and in, and all of a sudden, it's a 13-point game. Biggest lead of the game. (79-66) 2:25 to go. Let's send it back to the studio. Adnan Virk.
All right, John, thanks. Just a reminder for all our viewers, if you want to watch Duke and Boston College, that is set to tip over on ESPN News and available on the Watch ESPN app. Once West Virginia, Kansas has concluded, it will go back over to ESPN. For now, send you back to Mr. Shambi and Mr. Fischel. John?
We got misters from him.
Yeah, I like it.
Well, down the stretch, Kansas been able to get buckets. West Virginia with some open looks, not able to knock him down. Wiggins with 19 to lead Kansas.
So this game, if it stays this way, is going to look worse for West Virginia than it really has been. There have only been about 4 or 5 plays that Kansas has made in the last couple minutes that have broken this game open. Part of it has been Andrew Wiggins' outstanding defense, John.
He's a tough defender. One of the things that makes it so difficult is that as a 6'8" guy, he's able to deal with quick players.
Watch this right here. Look at that. Watch how he closes. Now that means Harris has to drive, and that sets up the charge at the rim. Virtually anybody else in the league guarding Harris on that particular screen
would have got stuck on Noreen.
Exactly.
And he stuck around it. Harris way downtown. Ellis rebounds it. And here at Allen Fieldhouse, 2 to go. And number 8 Jayhawks trying to make it 111 in a row at home against unranked opponents.
Ellis, they have timeouts.
Timeout, Kansas. More college basketball coming up. Saturday prime time, presented by DirecTV, 9 Eastern on ESPN. It's number 23 Gonzaga, number 24 Memphis. And then over on ESPN 2 at 9 Eastern, number 4 Wichita State. Greg Marshall's group trying to stay undefeated. They take on Northern Iowa.
Of course, Mitchell Wiggins, the father not only of Andrew Wiggins, but Nick Wiggins, who is a solid role player for Greg Marshall's Wichita State Shockers. 3 sons playing. Mitchell Jr. playing down in Florida. Good solid day for Andrew Wiggins all around, John. The defense is going to be something that'll be pointed out by Bill Self in the post-game press conference. I guarantee you that. Take that to the bank.
Every game is dissected in a way that is, I think it is difficult for any of us to really comprehend or understand, not being in his shoes. But man.
But here's how I feel about that. If you didn't want the scrutiny, don't go to Kansas. Seriously. If you don't want the scrutiny of being the top high school player in the country and have everybody pick you apart, should have went to Middle Tennessee State.
And that wasn't my point at all. My point is that on a single game basis, that's not telling you how good he is. Embiid lays it in. My point is, just because he goes 2 for 12 in one game, it doesn't mean he's not going to be a good player. Not that he shouldn't want the scrutiny.
That I totally agree with. And by the way, he handles the scrutiny really well.
Kansas atop the board in the Big 12 at 8-1. Only losses at Texas. That was last Saturday. Meanwhile, West Virginia, I don't think people expected them to be 6-4 and in this spot.
No, they struggled early in the year, remember. They were not playing good basketball, but it's a young team. And, you know, the shocker there is Oklahoma State at 4-5. Despite the loss of Michael Cobbins, they are right now at rock bottom with an opportunity to start climbing tonight.
How surprised are you that Baylor's 2-7 in the league?
Mildly surprised, certainly. But I'll tell you what struck me is not that they're struggling, is how good the league is relative to what we thought before the season.
All right, I got to do this to you. With 1:17 to go, 13-point game. Juwan Staten as a Player of the Year candidate. Who's the Player of the Year in this league?
You know what? It's a great question, and not because he had 50 today or 48 or whatever he has.
Yep.
Melvin Ejim's in the race. DeAndre Kane is in the race. The problem, Marcus Smart was in the race, and he could be again if he starts to get out of this little funk he's on. The problem with Kansas is who do you pick from Kansas?
Right.
Because they got 3 or 4 guys that are all candidates as well.
I'm going to ask a baseball MVP type of question as it relates to Player of the Year in the conference. So do wins matter?
Yes, and that's why Iowa State, to me, is doing. Bill Self told me yesterday they are easily the second best team in this league, and in part because of what Ejim and DeAndre Kane have done. Now, do you penalize all these Kansas players because there are so many good ones? Individually, yeah, you penalize them because they're the 8th ranked team in the country.
And then I guess my question as a counter would be, does a guy who plays on not as good a team, should he be penalized if his teammates aren't as good?
Well, for Player of the Year, unless it's a dominant performance on a mediocre team, I'd say yes, he should be penalized. How's
that?
Okay.
Not real big in the fairness department, but
well, hey.
And Selden is fouled.
Who would you put, if let's say I gave you 2 spots for Kansas on the all-conference team, which 2 are you picking? Wiggins?
Wiggins is definitely one of them.
And?
It's tough. I don't know who I'd make the second guy. I guess Embiid.
Okay. Well, okay. So,
but but I'll tell you this: in the league, I think Wiggins is the only one that should be the guy on first team. Let's send it back to the studio. Adnan Burke.
All right, thanks very much, John. Duke and Boston College. If you're looking for that game, it's over on ESPN News. Coach K's Blue Devils out to an 8-2 lead. Almost 4 minutes gone on that game. You can also watch it on the Watch ESPN app. West Virginia and Kansas closing up shop. More talk of low-pressure systems and do wins matter. John?
He's always listening, which I do appreciate. Yeah, still to come, Duke and Boston College from Conti Forum. And it sort of started because Juwan Staten, a legit Player of the Year candidate in this conference.
Well, there's no question. And as I said at the very beginning of the game, he's a lock to be first team all-league based on what he's done individually and to help his team start to move up the Big 12 ladder. Most impressively, John, is his improvement.
Oh my goodness.
From year to year, which says a lot about his character.
Just a much different guy. And today, Kansas has had such a tough time keeping him in front. And Embiid blocks the shot.
Kansas has to regroup now off this win and get ready for Monday night. Sunflower State showdown. You see how much better Embiid has gotten as the season has gone on in terms of protecting the rim. He was averaging a block and a half first part of the year, and certainly he's really continued to become a defensive force.
If anyone at home was wondering when we'd hit the 50 foul mark, and you had 32.4 seconds left in the game, you nailed it. Where can Embiid get better, or where do you see him needing to get better?
Physical maturity. That's the key.
So it's just going to happen.
It's going to happen. It may not happen right away. I guarantee if he went to the league next year, he's not going to dominate. He's just not a physical force yet, but long term, the future is very sunny if I were to give him a February forecast.
Thank you, Al Roker. So Kansas comes away with the win. 83-69 the final. Andrew Wiggins with 19 to lead the Jayhawks. Again, our final 83-69 Kansas over West Virginia. For Fran Fraschilla and our entire crew, I'm John Shambi. Time now, ACC basketball. We send it to Chestnut Hill and close personal friend Dave O'Brien.